time for PetSylvania with Dr. Bob Esplin. Dr. Bob guides you through the latest veterinary techniques and procedures to keep your pets in the best of health. PetSylvania is brought to you by Elanco, maker of Trifexis and Comfortis. With your ears up and tails wagging, here is Dr. Bob.
Well, hello, listeners, and welcome to PetSylvania. I'm really happy to be back, and I enjoy this every week, having that great lead with Dennis and his 3 hours of terrific music. So we really appreciate getting the audience all warmed up. Even the great artists have a warm-up act. That's the way I look at it. So I want to thank, as I always do, I want to thank Elanco, the makers of Trifexis and Comfortis, and Reconcile for being a sponsor of today's PetSylvania. Esplin Medical, the makers of the most comfortable, environmentally friendly premium surgical scrub apparel in the world. This product is truly unique. There is no other product like it on the market. Each piece is made of 80% all-natural renewable resource bamboo and cotton and 20% polyester from recycled plastic bottles. All other scrubs that are on the market have a high percentages of man-made fiber, and they come from oil, or recycled petroleum products. Polyester, rayon, and lycra are the commonly used fibers in almost all other scrubs. These scrubs are generally not very comfortable, but you want to think about a little bit about the environmental friendliness, because I think that's really a unique feature. The fact that they're all natural, have so much natural fiber, they breathe, they're more comfortable, they're lighter, they're a great product. So I would encourage you to go to www.esplinmedical.com, and you can learn more about bamboo fabric, and you can place an order. And I know my son would really appreciate that. And then, of course, Sylvania Vet, 4801 Holland, Sylvania, 419-885-4421 continues to sponsor me. I really don't know why. Well, yes, I do. One of the things I like to promote is our website, and I've given you that address at www.sylvaniavet.com. There is a great medical library, and the number of people that still go to the internet and try to gain information concerning aspects of pet care is really pretty phenomenal to me. And I think that when there are good, reliable, professionally written pieces of literature out there, that's what you should rely on. Our medical library is an easy click, and you can then search for any topic that you would like to get more information about. I really and truly believe that the worst information that you can get is off the internet. There just isn't much of value there. Too much of it is personal opinion. Too much of it is biased opinion and does not have any substance in science. And veterinary medicine is a science-based profession, and so you want to look for scientific sources to be able to do that. This really got driven home to me this week. I had a client in who has an older dog, and she brought in pretty much a shopping bag of stuff that she had put the dog on for various reasons, and she'd been bouncing around. She was feeding combinations of 3 different diets, all of which she had read about on the internet, and not one of them was a diet that I think is worth recommending. And I don't mind giving names: Blue Buffalo, Call of the Wild, one other that I don't recall right now. Those diets, they aren't coming from companies doing nutritional research. They're not even making their own foods. I think that they're over-advertised and falsely advertised as being quality products. They are not. And so stick with dog foods that come, and this is what I told her. And she says, well, I've fed 2 of those, the Iams and the Royal Canin before, and then the other 2, Pro Plan and Science Diet. She says, I know all those. I don't know why I changed around. So she's going back. Then she had jugs of things. She had a jug of a product called Phycox that she'd been at Costco, and the pharmacist at Costco had said, this is a great product, help your dog's joints. Well, the problem is that pharmacist doesn't have any training in veterinary medicine and really should not be making recommendations. Phycox has 3 forms of salicylate, which are aspirin-like drugs, and though there aren't a lot of reports out there, I'm just really cautious about using any aspirin-like drug. She had a product, Fortiflora. She thought the dog had an upset stomach, and she would put it on Fortiflora. Again, that would be a good idea. Fortiflora, we talked about last week, is a probiotic. Seems to do a pretty good job controlling gas, but should have no impact on vomiting. So she's going to take that one back. And then she had a brain supplement. I looked at the list of ingredients and I had no clue what was in there. And I'm reluctant to recommend anything or endorse anything that I have no clue what's in that medication. I want to thank my entire staff for helping put on the blood drive last week. We collected over 20 units of blood for the American Red Cross, and that's just a part of what we do in the community. The Sylvania Vet is a very community-oriented veterinary practice. We appreciate the support we get from the community, and enables us to provide the best quality pet care around. And we try to give back. The Red Cross is an important organization, and want to make sure we have enough blood in the blood bank when we need it. Constantly get asked about cat vaccines and get asked about my cat never goes outside. Why does it need vaccines? Well, many of the diseases that we vaccinate against are the core vaccines, and all of these are capable of being transmitted either on your clothing because you've been at someone else's house, or you've been to the pet store, or they come floating in on the breeze. So even a strictly indoor cat needs to have periodic vaccinations. Rabies is an important part in every public health organization, from the federal CDC in Atlanta to the state and the Lucas County Public Health Department. Strongly encourage all pet animals be vaccinated against rabies. Bats are the primary transmitter of rabies, and I think we mentioned last week that bat rabies can be transmitted through aerosol transmission, not just biting. So you want that protection. It's peace of mind. So what vaccines do we recommend? Well, there's the core vaccines: feline distemper, rhinotracheitis, and calicivirus. Those are the second and the third one are very, very severe respiratory diseases. Then an elective vaccine, if your cat goes out, or you have cats in the house that go out, even if one of the cats never goes out, should have leukemia vaccines. So that's an elective. And then what are no-nos? There are some no-no vaccines out there. FIP vaccine, FIV vaccine, ringworm vaccine, Giardia vaccine. I've seen records come over from the big corporate practices that are in the area, and every one of those vaccines is on the list of what they recommend to be given to a cat. Absolutely, all the authorities in the profession say those are absolutely no-no vaccines. Our next set of obedience classes are scheduled. Classes are rolling along right now and doing great. And so the next set starts, puppy and basic obedience starts Saturday, February 9th. And again, basic obedience, a second set of classes will start on Tuesday, February 16th. Well, I got a question that I thought I'd cover before we took a break so we could all kind of recover from this. When I read the question, kind of felt, boy, this is kind of R-rated. So here we go. Kathy asks, my friend has a pit bull. She just had puppies and ate some of them. My friend said sometimes this can happen where an animal will eat the puppy she senses will not grow properly. My friend is pregnant and most likely giving birth to a premature baby. Will this pit bull sense something is wrong with the preemie baby and try to eat it because it is struggling? That's two questions, and I think I can say with 100% certainty, just because a baby is a preemie doesn't mean that it has anything wrong with it. There are literally very, very few reports of dogs of any breed, and just because this happens to be a pit bull, I don't feel any anxiety about having a pit bull in the house with a new baby, using just a lot of common sense when it comes to that, and that can be a whole other conversation. The answer of dogs eating babies revolve around a lot of things, and I don't really think that in most cases it has anything to do with them sensing that this puppy will not grow up to be an okay dog. I think it has more to do with anxiety and stress. How old is this dog? Has it ever had a litter before? Is it a teenage mother? These are things that are concerns. What's going on in the house? There's a lot, with a pregnant person in the house and getting nursery ready, there's a lot of disruption and carrying on. So there's a ton of things that I would blame this temperament on. Certainly, that dog should be spayed. There's no reason for that to have another litter of puppies, and hopefully they'll be able to find a home for the puppies that do survive and then get that mom spayed. So it's time to take a break, and we'll be back. Well, Terry tells me she has the best dog ever. Well, that's a matter of opinion, I guess, and we're all entitled to our own opinions, because I know that my dog, Tressie, is the best dog ever. With that said, about a year ago, Ringo was doing a lot of gagging and choking. When we evaluated Ringo, we found out that he had a condition called laryngeal paralysis. And what that basically means is that the larynx, when an animal breathes in, the same with us, when we breathe in, our vocal folds go to the side, open up wide, and allow the air to come in. And so so if that doesn't happen and they stay closed, now it's like trying to breathe through a straw rather than with your mouth wide open. It can cause what's known as a stentorious respiration. You can literally hear them trying to suck air through a narrow space if you think about it. Well, it's been a whole year and Ringo hasn't gotten any worse, but we're about to reevaluate him. And Terry wants to know, is there any treatment if it gets worse? Well, when it gets to be clinical, the first thing that we do in a case of laryngeal paralysis is that we use cortisone, and we try to reduce the inflammation that occurs in the vocal folds and the larynx because of the heavy inspirations and the air flowing over the surface roughly than it would if it was wide open. So when the steroids no longer work, then there's a couple of things that can be done. One is a pretty sophisticated procedure where you go in and surgically take the vocal fold and you tack it against the wall of the larynx so that you open up the larynx. And you usually only do one side, and that's enough. And it's very sophisticated, probably should be done by a specialist. I've taken a course where I learned how to do it, and my conclusion after I learned how to do it is should probably be done by a specialist, because it's just there's a lot of areas where you can really make mistakes. There is the ability to just do a devocalization by removing the vocal folds can also be done, and it opens it up wide. That one sets itself up for the possibility of some scar tissue and some reoccurrence and the re-narrowing of the space again. But, it's a far less expensive, and it doesn't require the referral to a specialist. And we've had great success with that, doing that procedure and prolonging animals' lives, or otherwise, when it gets that severe, their time could be limited. I hope that helps, Terry. Andrea wanted me to discuss a little bit about aging and the changes that go on in our recommendations. And when we talk about aging, we certainly talk about years, chronology. But the fortunate thing for me and those of us that are my age is not a disease. And so when I think about aging, I really think about the physiological changes that an animal goes through from year to year. And that's what I consider when I start thinking about what do I want? Does this animal still need all of its annual vaccines or all of its core vaccines, or should it only get a rabies vaccine? There is an age when we usually back off because the animals become more infirm, and physiologically their immune system is already compromised and they're just not good candidates for vaccine. But what we really want to do is start exchanging the idea that vaccines are the most important things throughout an animal's life, and recognize that examinations once or twice a year, good history taking, discussions of diet, discussions of water consumption and training issues and skin health, all of that needs to be done. And then regular annual lab work to evaluate what's going on. And then as time moves along, potentially there's a heart murmur, chest x-rays, or an ultrasound of the abdomen looking for trouble that we won't be able to feel with our fingers. So there's lots of things that I would rather see us as we get into a dog or a cat up into the 10, 12, 13, 14-year range that I would rather do than just vaccinate them. I think those are things that need to be talked about. I had somebody today that because their dog was 7, they switched him over to a senior diet and it started drinking excessive amounts of water. Well, in many cases, many of these senior diets have added sodium in them with the misconception that might help their kidneys by causing them to drink more water. So we're going to switch this dog back to its old diet because there really is nothing wrong with this dog other than the fact that it's over 7. And again, age is not a disease, and thank goodness. The other thing she wanted to know is, why do we vaccinate? Why is it important that all dogs get Bordetella vaccine? Because Bordetella causes one of the diseases that we see more of than anything with a disease that we can prevent. So it's commonly called canine kennel cough, but we prefer to call it canine cough because you can get it if you take your dog to the groomer, if you go to the pet store, if you head to the park, if you hospitalize, if you board, certainly. But boarding is certainly not the only place to get it. Most of the cases we see actually come out of the neighborhood just because it's such a widespread disease, and it's caused by true kennel cough or canine cough. This is caused by a combination of Bordetella bacteria and a parainfluenza virus. A combination of those things are vaccinated with regularly, and we see a lot less of that canine cough. There was something on Facebook the other day, and I'm on Facebook, so if you want to friend me at Robert Esplin, I'd sure appreciate it. And if you want to go to Sylvania Vets, page and like us, passing tons of information along on an almost daily basis on those two social media sites. And we're doing more and more on Twitter. Sure love to have you be a part of our Facebook world. There's some concern about where you should buy puppies. The answer is that most people don't go to stores to buy purebred kittens. They go to breeders. But for some reason, people go to pet stores to buy puppies. And I'll tell you, my wife was at my grandchildren's last week, and she took Charlie, my youngest, while the other kids were in school. They went to the mall, and lo and behold, there's a pet store, and Charlie loves going to the pet store. So in they go. And my wife nearly came home with a puppy because she just felt like, I got to rescue this dog out of here. Most of the puppies in pet stores are not the best quality puppies from a breeding perspective. High quality breeders will not sell their puppies through a pet store. Though they are registerable, the good breeders won't go that way. And so you're getting something lesser. You may be getting a puppy that comes from a puppy mill, and there's tons of information about how bad it is to get a dog that's come out of a puppy mill because of social development, in addition to physical problems and immediate health issues, all of which have much increased incidence in puppy mill puppies than they do in puppies that are from breeders. And then other people who just like Kathy's friend who had a litter of pit bulls, that was certainly a mistake, and I don't want to be critical of her. That there needs to be a responsibility when you have a female dog, knowing that if it shouldn't be bred, then it should be spayed, and it's as simple as that. I would tell you that if you want to get a mixed breed puppy, then the Humane Society and numerous area rescues are good places to look, and that if you want to get a purebred dog, then I would start talking to and looking for breeders who have the well-being of the breed as their foremost responsibility. Did a procedure on a dog, on Riley, that had chronic diarrhea, and it just wouldn't respond to any of the diagnostics and any of the treatment we'd done. So we finally went in with flexible endoscope, and we were able to examine the inside of the colon, and we were able to collect samples, and it comes back a very unusual form of lymph node cancer, of lymph cancer. There's lymph tissue everywhere in the body, but it was very, very unusual to find that, because in every other way, Riley is thriving. So we're working on putting a treatment protocol together that hopefully will enable Riley to stop having diarrhea, stop having blood in the diarrhea, and feel better and be able to live a good many more months. When we do chemotherapy in dogs, we're really looking to prolong the quality of life. We're not hitting them with such heavy drugs like they do in people, where we're looking for cures. So we'll be back on the other side and wrap it up for today. Well, here we are back to wrap it up, and producer of many irons in the fire, Steve, was out and about in Sylvania the other day, and it struck up a conversation with someone. This woman gave our groomers at Sylvania Vet a rousing endorsement, and so I thought I'd pass it along, because one thing for me to brag, but it's another thing for me to be able to pass along an unsolicited piece of information. So the only thing I would tell you is, because our groomers are great, and that's what this person said, they're also busy, and it's kind of hard to get in sometimes, so you have to be persistent. Don't wait till the last minute, because then you'll be stuck going somewhere else. We're less expensive than Petco and PetSmart, they tell us. We do a better job, and we're more friendly. So, I mean, all those things are true from my perspective, but gosh, it's great to hear it from somebody else, completely unsolicited. Last week, we did a little discussion about behavior, and that how I looked at where my knowledge of behavior fits in, and I'm sort of a behavioral triagist, and on a scale of 1 to 5, if we start pushing 3 and over, I'm going to want this to go to a specialist, or if it's a severe problem, let's say a dog showing aggressive with young children in the house, and we can't afford to have even one mistake, then I want this to go to somebody who devotes their full day to managing that. And a doctor that I've been recommending recently, and I think the world of, her name is Dr. Feltes, Feltes, and she's over in the Akron area. She's at www.thebehaviorclinic.com, and also at 440-334-8534. So if you have any questions, or if you'd like to discuss Dr. Feltes with me, please call me at the office, and we can do that. On February 21st, which is a Thursday at 7:30 p.m., we're going to have our first community-free pet seminar, and in this time it's going to be on cat and cat health and why those annual wellness vaccines and the wellness visits are important. We're going to talk about the importance of our designation as a cat-friendly practice, and we're going to have a lot of time for questions and answers. There's going to be door prizes for everyone, and then there's going to be a raffle where you can win a gift card with a value of about $50. So for a free event, you're going to spend an hour and a half on a Thursday night in the cold of winter. It might be good. The date hasn't been set, but in April we're going to do one on dental care for dogs and cats, and we hope to make this, an event that's going to happen somewhere between 4 and 5 times a year with these seminars. I would encourage you to go to our website if you listen to this and you like hearing information about pet care. Then I would certainly encourage you to go to our website, www.sylvaniavet.com, and there's a place to register to get our monthly newsletter that we call FYI, for pets' sake. So I want you to remember that Sylvania Vet is staffed 24/7, 365 with an assistant and a technician. We have a doctor on call all hours, days and nights, holidays or not. We do have a doctor on call, and they will come in if needed. So please think of us as your resource for referral for emergency